Hey guys, Bat Jack JW coming to you. We are looking at the Browning High Power this time around. Okay, let's make sure it's not loaded before we even get started with it and drop the magazine. Okay, so this is kind of John Browning's last real design he had a major a part in. He didn't finish it. He unfortunately passed away before it could be completed. It was completed by a guy named, I'm probably gonna mispronounce his name, Save or Save Diodani, or anyway, I'm probably just butchering his name, but it was this is a pistol made by FN Fabrique Nationale in the beginning there. Of course, a lot of people made this gun. Anyway, this thing, man, it served World War II on, man, Korea, you name it. Vietnam, everybody had one of these things. Okay, so the design started off in 1914 and was finally completed in 1935, and this from what I understand was a requirement from the French military. So in a sense, here's John Browning starting from scratch in a way, because a lot of his patent rights had not expired for his 1911 that he had sold to Colt. Alright, so here we go. These are 9mm, majority of them. Some of them are in 40. But this is the original 9mm is the caliber it was originally chambered in. Okay, all right. So it's a beautiful gun. It's got it really does look nice. Right off the bat, I can tell you it's a beautiful gun. And if you like 1911s, this is a lot like a 1911. Now, of course, it was designed by the father of the 1911, right? Okay, all right. So, you know, just a couple of things. I'll go over some things that I may not like about them and whatnot, but there's a lot of variations of this pistol out there. There's a ton of different types. This one here that we're looking at is a newer production one. That's made in Belgium, but it's assembled in Portugal. Okay, now there's a lot of guys collect these guns, and there's a lot of collectors ones out there, and the collectors want the ones that are made in Belgium, and that's it. It's not assembled somewhere else, and they have a really beautiful bluing on it. This one has a really nice bluing in itself. Okay, hopefully that comes through in HD, really nice for you. But the ones that are really collectible, they call them either like the T series, C series. Just an example, and what that means is in the serial number, those letters are a prefix in them. And then another way to definitely identify them is the back of the grips are red. So if you actually you can stare through them through the bottom of the magwell, and you can see that they're red, or you can just take them off and look at them. Okay, and generally the hammer can change too. This is the spur hammer. The other one is what they call a ring hammer, and those are pretty desirable from what I understand, the ring hammer version. Anyway, this one's got adjustable sights. You can see nice upgraded sights. The front sight, oops, bumped the camera there. You can see the front sight. I'll give you a sight picture, what it looks like. Pretty nice. Okay, you might get a little hammer bite from this guy because there really isn't any protection there, so you may get that. Maybe a little bit more with this one, so just kind of a warning. The grips on this thing are rather thick. I will say that it does have kind of a thicker feel for it. For me personally, I just I don't know, with those grips on there, I may have to change them out if I was going to, if this was my gun, which it's not. This is a loan, so but I would have to change that out. I think I would want thinner grips or something like that. Perhaps maybe just save these for a rainy day. Okay. Those of you who've been around my channel a while, we have shown the FEG High Power, which is a Hungarian copy, which is a very nice pistol, and it's about a fraction of the cost. But other than that, really holding, you know, just holding this one, checking it out, and comparing it to the FEG, there's really not much difference. That's just in my opinion, other than the price tag. Okay, so let's go ahead and talk about how to take it down. Obviously, if you've seen my takedown video already, this is going to be nothing new. You'll see the two notches here. You got one here ahead of the serrations and one in the rear. Okay, the one in the rear is basically just a for putting it on thumbs, like a thumb safety on a 1911. That's safe. Well, of course, does have a magazine disconnect. Okay, so you got to that's your thumb safety. All right, let's make sure. Okay, you put it off, magazine in. It does have a stiff trigger for a single action pistol. Did I mention it's a single action pistol? Some of them actually came out in double action. You can find some of the FEG ones that are actually double action. They look a little different though. But anyway, so why does it have a heavier trigger pull, you're asking? It's because it has a magazine disconnect. You take the magazine out and nothing happens. It's kind of that's it. That is a big criticism of this gun. That's something that a lot of people criticize the Browning high powers for. Now, the FEG that I had, when I bought it originally, somebody I guess did me the favor and removed the system, or maybe it just came like that. I'm not sure the history on it, but anyway. So let's go ahead and take it down. So moving the slide to the rear and moving the thumb safety up into there. Okay, and now we're going to remove the slide stop or slide release by pushing the little pin head from the slide release on the other side, like a 1911. Now I push it up into the slide a little bit to help it come out. Okay, and you can see it just pop right out. Okay, oh, it's a little stiff. Gee, I wonder what that's from. All right, so now it's out. Now we're going to hold on to the slide, release the thumb safety, and let the slide come forward and come right off the gun. Set the frame aside for now, and we're going to take a look at the slide, and we're going to take a look inside, and you'll see some things that are very similar to the way things are now. Okay, here's the slide stop. Take this out, and remember, if you're going to do this, just kind of take a look at the way it comes out and the way it goes in, because it does only go in one way. All right, now for a moment there I was talking about why that slide stop has some issues, or some resistance, I should say, not issues, some resistance coming out. That's because on here you can see there's a small cutout on the pin there, or alright, and what that is that goes in and contacts to that bearing, and that's what holds it in. Okay, so that's why you have some of that resistance. That's what holds that the magazine, or not the magazine, the slide release, slide lock in place to hold the gun together. Okay, so the barrel does come out like what we're used to. Okay, and it does look familiar, doesn't it, a little bit? But then you see on the top it's got locking lugs as well in the frame or the slide, so it can lock up, very much like the 1911. Okay. Oh, this one's dirty. We gotta clean that. Eek. Can you believe that? That's from the factory. Okay. Alright, so here's an interesting thing about the Browning high power, which I have found it very interesting myself. Okay, I'm going to use a plastic pointer here. If you look here, see this bar that runs here? Maybe I'll give you a better look at it. See this bar? I don't know if I'll get it to move, but I'm pushing down on it. Okay, what that does is that contacts the sear in the frame here, right there. Okay, now I may be able to do this with my thumb. I'll hold the hammer back so it doesn't go slamming forward, but contacts it right here, and you can see it move out of the way. And that's how it works. Now, like the 1911, it's the trigger that does it, and the trigger bar that pushes against it, against the sear, to fire the gun. This is different. Okay, so this, if you just had the frame and you pull the trigger, nothing's going to happen there. Even if, let's say, we know it has a magazine disconnect. Let's put the magazine in there. Okay, still nothing. Okay, that is because it needs the slide. It needs this bar that runs on the right here. Okay, it needs that bar to be pushed and then come back down and contact that. Now you're saying, what pushes the bar? Well, if you look very carefully in this area, watch as I pull the trigger. See that little pin that pops up? It's a little hand that comes up, and that hand is attached to the trigger. Okay, and right down in there you can actually see right there, that is the magazine disconnect shoe. And when you push the magazine in, you'll see what happens. Now pay attention right there. You'll see the magazine push that shoe in. Okay, and actually if you look at some of the very used high power magazines, there's usually a wear spot right here, a pretty significant one. That's from it riding against that shoe over and over again. Okay, so you can see that right there. That's how it works. Okay, that comes up, pushes, you can see it, comes up, pushes, and what it's pushing up against is this bar right in here. Okay, and the bar tilts, and when it tilts, it comes down and contacts the sear right there. Bang. There you go. That's how it works. Okay, so watch. There it is. Okay, so that's how it works. Kind of interesting. Very different in a way, you know, very similar in some ways, but very different in a lot of other ways. Anyway, it's still, you know, they still make them. They're still going through, and you can still buy them. I personally, once I saw the FEG high powers, they used to run like 300 bucks. I think they've gone up a little bit in price. You know, really, those are the ones I think I would be just satisfied with that. Just my personal opinion. You know, of course, you know, you may disagree, and that's fine. Okay, but I think that, in my opinion, these just cost too much for the most part. A lot of these are very expensive. Okay, we're going to go ahead and put it back together, and much different from the 1911. The barrel goes in like how we're used to for, say, like Glocks and whatnot, and all of our polymer guns these days. Okay, so remembering the way this goes in, and you'll see here this notch. I'll show you better. Okay, right there, you can see where it lives right there. Okay, so it's gonna line back up, and sit right in there. Now make sure you have it right. Use this video as a reference if you need to, just to make sure you see what it looks like. Because let me tell you something, you don't want to be going and damaging parts on this gun, because it's very expensive to replace parts on these. I don't know why, but it is. Okay, pulling the slide back, locking it to that lockup notch right there. Okay, taking the slide stop, carefully putting it back in there. Do not scratch the frame. There you have it. You know, I can't, I always cringe when I see the scratch right there. Okay, let it go forward. We're gonna put the magazine in, and we're good to go right there. Okay, so there's a lot of different variations. Like I said, I talked a little bit about the Belgium ones that are, you know, with the red backs on the grips and stuff. There's some with what they call the thumbprint. There's like a little divot right here. Those are collectible. There's some with a different sight. I think they call it I forget what they call it. It's got a little bit more of an elaborate sight on it. Some are just fixed sights. My FEG is just a kind of a fixed sight. It is what it is. This one's adjustable. Okay. Again, this is the spur hammer variant. And okay, this one here, the extractor is pinned in this way. Now some have this actual, like, it looks like a hidden slot, but it's part of it, and it's a slot, and they can come out and everything. So there's some differences in some of these. But again, there is so many of these made by so many different companies. It's unbelievable. It's a really mass-produced gun that was made by just about everybody. You know, and you know, the Nazis had some in World War II, things like that. You know, just in Canada, it was making some. You know, the FEG that I've had has been made by Hungary. You know, Hungarian. So very interesting history. It's really cool to see so many different gun makers making these things, and it was really the surplus gun of the day. In a sense, you know, so you could just go out and buy them, and I'm a big fan of those budget ones. Really, I am. They work really well. So, and not much of a difference other than the price tag, in my opinion. Okay, again, now one last thing I'm gonna cover before we end this video that's really neat that I noticed is something. Watch when I eject the mag. Notice it pops out really fast. Okay, these are the 10-round mags. That was one of the things that the French wanted. You know, these things are supposed to have like a 13, 14 round magazine capacity. That was one thing that they wanted, and that's kind of where that you know, why they call it the high power, because it had a high capacity of power, 9mm. So if you look, magazine has a little spring on a heel backside, okay, and it runs into the heel of the magazine well. If you look at it, okay, and now that it's in there, it literally shoots the magazine right out when you need it to. They actually checkered the bottom here. Now I'm not sure if it was because of adding this. So anyway, that's something new and different I noticed on this one. Alright, anyway, there it is. Nothing crazy or nothing too, you know, don't know everything about them, so I'm sure there's somebody that knows a ton more than I do, but that's just kind of what I know about the Browning High Power and its variations. And I had a chance some time ago to buy an all-made Belgium one with the red backs. It was a T-series, really nice bluing. Bluing on those reminds me of like Colt Python, and I just didn't buy it. It was a lot of money, and there's still a lot of money today, and definitely that makes those collectible. But if you're just gonna buy one to shoot, there's nothing wrong with those surplus ones that are going for $300-400. You know, nothing wrong with them at all. I had one, shot it a lot. Since then I've sold it, but oh well. But anyway, we had this one just for the sake of the video, so it does not belong to me. We just have it for the review here at a tabletop, and just bring it to you and show it to you. Anyway, wanted to change it up here on the channel. Anyway, like, share, and subscribe, you guys. Appreciate everybody watching. I'm Bat Jack JW, signing off for now.